The insurance company changed the formulary, which rose the price of it to over $500.
Shannon and Bill Schmitnick believe that also cost their son Cole his life.
Chose rent over his medicine.
Now, the 22-year-old's parents are advocating for reform for pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs. The FTC describes them as middlemen, negotiating with drug manufacturers to determine the terms and conditions for prescriptions.
We'd like to say this is a one-off, isolated incident, and it's not.
Dan Strauss, a now retired pharmacist at Hometown Pharmacy, says patients aren't the only ones impacted. What sort of direct impacts were PBMs having on your business?
Brutal.
Just last month, the FTC chair was in Madison.
We enforced the nation's antitrust and consumer protection laws.
It was an opportunity to bring the family's questions about reform straight to her. Can you talk a bit about the impact PBMs have on local independent pharmacies and consumers?
I've heard a lot of concern from independent pharmacists about whether they're getting squeezed because of some of these practices.
The FTC accuses PBMs of sometimes overpaying their own pharmacies for filling prescriptions, making it even harder for independent pharmacies to compete.
Our relationship with them is one where they are aggressively working to, make it harder and harder for us to be in business.
Thad Schumacher, a pharmacist and owner of the independent Fitchburg Family Pharmacy, describes his relationship with PBMs like a slot machine.
You send a claim into a PBM, and that's like pulling the lever. And when the reimbursement information comes back, you could make $10 or you could lose $100.
The PBMs can actually force you to take losses to serve your patients.
So how much loss are we talking?
In 2023, we had lost somewhere in the neighborhood of $150,000 over a 6-month period. And that comes directly out of my pocket.
Do you ever worry about your pharmacy?
Like financially?
Yeah.
All the time.
1 in 3 independent pharmacies are considering closing in 2024, according to a study from the National Community Pharmacists Association.
We will work with pharmacies to help reduce costs.
Sean Stevenson is the director of state affairs for the Pharmaceutical Care Management Association, representing the 6 largest PBMs. The FTC is looking into all of them. Stevenson says the overall deal pharmacists make with PBMs is a net profit.
But could they be losing money on 1 or 2 drugs? Sure.
And what happens if a pharmacy doesn't like the deal and doesn't sign the contract?
They would not have access to patients that belong within our PBM.
Stevenson says PBMs represent 275 million Americans, meaning if pharmacists don't work with PBMs, they couldn't serve up to 3/4 of their customers.
They need to be regulated. They're one of the only healthcare industries that is not regulated by the government, and they've taken advantage of that.